Hi, my name's Martin Hanna, and we're going to look at the business opportunities that are available to partners when using the Simble IoT ecosystem. Just about all IoT projects start with a great idea, and in most cases it's also the beginning of a journey with IoT for that organisation. I think many people still think of IoT as a funky technology that feeds data into their existing ERP system. Few see it for what it really is, an organisational capability. Many customer journeys begin with the assumption that you grab a sensor, some software, add some process, and bingo, you get an outcome. A bit like a recipe. However, a lot of projects that get launched this way end up with pretty mediocre results. The mediocre results are not so much because it wasn't a great idea, it usually is, but the failure to plan and deliver the right outcomes. It's interesting to refer back to research at this stage. One interesting group of information coming from a company called Bain and Company. They asked a broad range of IT professionals across a range of industries what stage they felt their company's IoT adoption was at. And as you can see there in the graph, from 2016 to 2018 and 20, the piece in the middle, the proof of concept, is growing rapidly. But what I found interesting looking at these stats, you can draw your own conclusions, but I found it interesting to add up. If you look at the point of the proof of concept and the live portion of these projects, in 2016 we have 35% were either live or proof of concept. In 2018 that moves to 60%, and in 2022 that's 90%. Which would indicate that these organisations certainly felt that it was important they adopted IoT. But I think organisations are also realising it's a competency that the organisation needs to learn, and it will only learn it by getting involved. In this sense, it's interesting to look at the difference between what we might call a simple versus a production IoT project. A simple project, by my definition, would be one that's just involving one or two sensors. It's going to take the results and display that. It's potentially going to use some business rules to come up with conclusions or to potentially turn things on and off. Commercial projects tend to be a little bit more sophisticated because there's a number of outcomes that are necessary. For example, if you have just one or two IoT devices connected to a dashboard that produces a graph, it'll display the results, but I wonder who is patient enough to sit there and look at the results day in, day out, and draw conclusions from it. Commercial projects tend to be multiple sensors, data capture services, combining all that information with data science, and then some sort of command and control capability that uses the information gleaned to control an environment, control a process, and produce a certain outcome. The best outcomes that I've observed in projects seem to be ones where there's multiple sensors, reporting and rules engines, and then data science used in the collection part, and then the delivery of outcomes through notifications, situationally appropriate human interfaces, that's a mouthful, isn't it? And autonomous control clusters. Now, the situationally appropriate human interfaces is where the display or the information is presented to a human being for consumption, using whatever is appropriate to them at where they are in their business day. And not everybody has the time to whip out their mobile phone and check for messages or check for information. So we have to implement better forms of user interface that are appropriate to the task at hand. Control panels, lights, voice, gesture control, and so on. And AI-empowered IoT clusters are those that where the IoT device is being controlled through a small computer. Perhaps it's got an Amazon Greengrass operating system sitting inside it, so it can leverage Amazon IoT capabilities. And it is then controlling a number of devices using some predefined machine-learned algorithm. It's tempting and somewhat gratifying to know that your team can take an IoT device and integrate it into your system. How successful IoT projects will involve multiple sensors and multiple technologies working in what is best described as an IoT ecosystem. On first glance, one could be tempted to think that all we need to do is develop something, test it, prove it, compare it to something else, and then decide what the next project is going to be. But since most IoT projects start off with some kind of an initial discovery project where the technology itself is put in place for some simple results, it's important to look at what we're intending to accomplish from these discovery projects, so that we don't just go running around playing with technology, empowering people to set up devices that will deliver information, but that information may never be used. Questions to be answered might be, will the original idea work? Well, that's what I mean by that is, if we are entering into a proof of concept, we are obviously trying to answer the question, will the idea actually work? And is there other options available to us that are more suitable to our environment? Is this discovery or this investigation going to identify new capabilities that we can use? The conclusions you want to reach is, at the end of that, is it cost effective? Is there risk? What are the deliverables? And then, of course, we would like to be able to develop from that a business case, justification for the return on investment, wherever that may be, the skills that are required, and are those skills readily available to our company or our community in the time frame that we require, at the cost that we can afford, and the use cases that are possible as a result of this little piece of technology we've integrated into our environment. So as a result of the discovery project, this great idea we had at the beginning ends up being potentially a few ideas. Each of those ideas would, in order to proceed into something tangible, require a business case, the gathering of the skill sets, and the setting up of an appropriate project. What is interesting for partners is the business opportunities that IoT creates. There is business and revenue opportunities from assisting customers to identify these use cases, and then creating the discovery projects and assisting the customer in creating those discovery projects that would thrash out what the potential business case and justification for the project proceeding would be. There's opportunity from creating an outline of the IoT project and its return on investment, developing the business cases, as I just said, selecting suitable IoT technologies, because even though we might think that the particular device we first had in mind might be suitable, after the discovery has been done, it's often the case that we settle on a different way of communicating, a different communications protocol. Perhaps there's security implications we didn't think of initially that we have to deal with. Perhaps there's packet sizes and volumes we have to take into consideration, for the time of day, the environment, potential damage of the sensor. There's a whole raft of things that a partner can be involved in helping the customer navigate through. Then after the discovery project, there is of course the project management, device implementation and maintenance, selecting and implementing an IoT ecosystem and the appropriate software and licenses and implementation and training that's involved, platform integration, tools and infrastructure, and overall transition and change management. Behind the scenes, the partner and Simble are working side by side to deliver the customer the best possible experience. In this diagram we see a great idea coming in at the top. There's a decision on how we're going to proceed. If we are going to proceed, that then usually gets converted into some kind of a discovery project. The discovery project will have specific outcomes. It isn't intended to provide a complete product. All it's intended to do is identify or unveil the know-how necessary to implement this particular piece of technology, and in particular remove any risk or identify costs that are associated with implementing the technology. So we're not trying to implement the whole thing as a working solution. We're just trying to remove the element of doubt around its potential use. So this is going to then produce a number of conclusions and artifacts that then are effectively the ideas, the knowledge, the skills and resources. Whilst the discovery project might be one where Simble is heavily involved in assisting the customer and the partner understand what potential capability is, and they navigate through the decisions that are necessary to discover this new idea. But from there, the partner in purple will be able to provide the necessary skills and resources, and the partner in conjunction with Simble would be developing the ideas and the knowledge. So this is in a way the areas of responsibility that ensue after this discovery project has given the customer a degree of confidence that the technology is suitable. Often there is multiple answers, multiple conclusions that are arrived at as a result of these discovery projects, which then inevitably means that there's more than one project. More often than not, there's more than one project. The new projects that require this organisation, your customer's organisation, to have new skills and capabilities in sensor selection. The range of possible devices and standards is endless. IoT ingestion, how are we going to actually consume all this data? Because unlike transactional information that's coming into an ERP system, IoT devices produce a lot of information, and very fast in high volumes, and it needs to be streamed, archived. The ingestion has to consider capacity, growth of capacity. Do we store it as SQL or no SQL, unstructured? We need production grade ingestion capability, post-production, taking that data and producing categorization, storing it by calendarization, by dates and by periods, storing it by topics, storing it by tags. There's a raft of techniques used to ingest the data and put it into parcels that will then be suitable for use for the specific use cases we're trying to accommodate. Then there's gateways, communication standards, limitations, the transformation and categorization of the data such that it's then fit for purpose. The IoT ready user interfaces, that's new types of user interfaces I was referring to before that are suitable for the task at hand. Analytics, automation and control systems, business analytics, transformation. There's a raft of new skills that the organisation is going to need to have. In an typical IoT computing project, which is quite different in fact to a regular ERP project. It starts off with the scope, and as we can see in purple there, the partner would be will be instrumental in identifying that scope, and then together with Simble there would be a business analysis, an IoT BA function, from which there would be a test bench. It's not necessary in a production project. You're not necessarily doing a discovery project, but you are test benching the new technology before you put it into production. They'd be creating software to link it with the correct API, ingesting it, and then Simble on its platform is doing the pre-processing and post-processing of the data. In conjunction with the partner, the Simble and the partner would be using Simble platform to produce rules and actions, analytics and data science. And then once the platform's running, the partner would be then deriving revenue from assisting the customer through trials, transition and go live phases. When starting to work with Simble in these projects, the process is typically as follows. We have an NDA or a teaming agreement that sets out the terms, the commercials, project roles and responsibilities, much the same as what we just saw on that slide. And then the transition, how in fact that the knowledge, Simble is going to pass on the knowledge to the partner so that they can take on the responsibilities of the respective roles in these IoT projects. And then a phased transition might be one where Simble is more heavily involved in some of the earlier customer projects to handhold for the first few projects until the partner has the requisite skills themselves to handle these projects, gradually taking ownership of their projects and partner staff would be participating in training or certification as those become available, and there would be within the agreement some components that, a portion that deals with the marketing and business development strategies that Simble and the partner are going to use to cultivate the opportunity. So this is a quick rundown on the opportunities for partners using the Simble IoT ecosystem and IoT projects. The opportunities can cultivate business from existing customer bases and or generate new customers for your organization. And if you want to discuss these matters further or look into in taking on a partnership with Simble, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll leave my details in the description area below this video. Thank you.